The Jesus Trilogy, The Four Messiahs, Chapter 13. Neither Joseph nor Mary slept much that night. Neither could believe what had happened that day. It was like a dream and a nightmare all rolled into one, yet it seemed as if neither one of them could have stopped any of it from happening. Joseph suspected God must have had his hand in it. There was no other explanation. But what had Joseph gotten himself into? Mary, however, was gaining a grasp of things. God was giving her a baby. He also had given her a father. Well, two fathers. And he gave her love all in one day. What a powerful force love must be. What an awesome God she had. Mary slept like a baby. No woman could have ever been happier. Joseph. Joseph wasn't actually sleeping. Must be 3 in the morning, he thought. Joseph of Nazareth, the voice said. Joseph quickly turned and reached for his knife, which he always kept under his pillow. Must be Hazen's men, he thought immediately of the kids. Joseph, do not fear me. I won't fear you, you will fear me, you little so-and-so. He brandished the knife and headed for the voice. Joseph of Nazareth. He stopped dead in his tracks. He was staring into the bluest eyes he'd ever seen. Eyes like blue fire. I am Gabriel, a deep voice said. I don't know any Gabriel. What do you want? Joseph continued. How dare you sneak in here? I'm Gabriel, sent from the Father. What Father? Your Father in heaven. Gabriel was miffed. This encounter wasn't going any better than his little talk with Mary. But he didn't have Angelica to fall back on this time, so he forged ahead. If you're one of Hazen's bunch, you better leave now. I'm a big guy, and this knife is awfully sharp. Joseph raised his weapon and stepped toward the big blue-eyed man. Gabriel figured he better try a new approach, one Joseph might understand. With lightning speed, he gripped Joseph's wrist and applied vice-like pressure. The knife clanged to the floor, but Gabriel did not let go. He knew Joseph would understand mano a mano. Gabriel had won the Olympic decathlon in heaven just the year before. There was no more powerful angel, nor one so focused in his allegiance to God. Gabriel had led the charge that defeated mighty Lucifer in the Battle of Orion. It was only the slightest pressure that he exerted on Joseph, but Joseph had never felt that kind of raw power. His hand was numb in a few seconds. Soon he felt his whole arm going limp. Gabriel's grip was stronger than an iron vice. Joseph thought his bones were about to crack. I will let go if you will sit down calmly and hear me out, Gabriel said sternly. Joseph sat and feverishly rubbed his right hand. Deal? Gabriel asked. Joseph nodded in the affirmative. Now, Gabriel said, the Father in heaven, my Father, God the Father, has sent me to tell you of important duties he wishes you to perform. God has sent his Son to this world as the prophets foretold. God's Son will save his people from sin and from our ex-brother, Gabriel continued. Saw Joseph was looking into his eyes. The fire of God's Spirit is in my eyes and in those of all his angels. Joseph continued to marvel as the exquisite blue color showed brightly. Amazing, he remarked to himself. Then what Gabriel had said began to register. The Messiah, Joseph said aghast. You are the Messiah? I am Gabriel. Yes, I heard you, so where is this Messiah? Joseph's injured arm was now causing him serious discomfort, but it sharpened his sleepy brain. I suppose you're going to tell me the Messiah is Mary's baby. Get real, man, Joseph said impulsively. You are correct, sir. Joseph felt suddenly dizzy and fell from his stool to the floor. The pain in his arm was excruciating. He looked up at Gabriel. You are serious, aren't you? The Father is asking you to take care of his son and Mary, the baby's mother, during his stay on earth, Gabriel said seriously. I can't. The baby is the Messiah, the promised one sent from God. God had to send a part of himself to save the world from our evil ex-brother Lucifer, Gabriel said. Yeah, how'd you guys let that happen anyway? Joseph knew he shouldn't have spouted off. Sorry, he said sheepishly. God will be the Messiah's father in heaven, and you will be the Messiah's father on earth. Gabriel ignored the prior comment of Joseph, and Joseph assumed it was a sore point. He did not wish to upset this powerful being any further. But to his surprise, Gabriel gave him an answer. My Father creates angels every day. Like you humans, He creates us all different features, different personalities, and so forth. I am older than Lucifer. When God created him, he was considered the handsomest angel in all heaven. I was considered the strongest. I know, Joseph interrupted. But Lucifer began to become enamored with himself. He skipped worship services and would go off alone, admiring his own beauty and power. Soon a few other angels followed his lead, and eventually two competing sides developed. Lucifer was a very persuasive individual, and his bunch grew rapidly. Fully 1/3 of all our brothers now believe, as he does, that God is not all-powerful. They believe that they have just as much ability and that Lucifer could easily take over the universe and run it even better than her father. Of course, Bel started a third party, thinking he would take over, but he lost in the Battle of Andromeda. Who's Bel's? Another fallen comrade, but Lucifer was smart. After he defeated Bel's, Lucifer made him second in command, thus securing the allegiance of all of Bel's followers too. Why couldn't you stop it? Believe me, we tried. We pleaded with our father to let us wipe out the whole evil gang, but he felt that the only way to prove he was the one true Lord of the universe was to prove that Lucifer's way was wrong. It would only bring evil and suffering and death. Now, that is exactly what has happened, but you humans still don't get it, do you? You are the last outpost in the whole universe not to see that Lucifer and his evil ways will only lead to misery and death. For the life of us all in heaven, we can't see how you can all be so blind. I don't know either, Joseph said apologetically. He wanted to apologize for all humanity. He knew he couldn't, but things were starting to clear up in Joseph's mind. The events of the past few days had made no sense to him. However, now the light was coming on. But why did God choose him of all people? He was just a lowly carpenter from a small crossroads town. Mary he could understand. She was smart, beautiful, and so very sweet. But him? Joseph got up and stared straight into those sapphire eyes. I will do what God asks. The father knew he could count on you, Gabriel said with a sigh of relief. He can, Joseph said, conviction in his voice. Joseph, your guardian angel, will be your constant companion. With that, a relieved Gabriel turned to leave. Wait. Now what? Gabriel had meant to say yes, but he was emotionally exhausted, and out came the now what. He had had enough of humans for one day. He was slowly beginning to understand why God was always so frustrated with the human animal. What shall we call him? What's his name? The baby, Gabriel, sir. Jesus. Gabriel was gone instantly. On the floor there remained a luminescence. Joseph reached down and touched it. It was like fine sand with a faint orange glow. Stardust? He scooped up the sand and put it in his pocket. He walked back to his bedroom and eased into bed. He stared out the window at the half moon. His arm was killing him. But now, too, reality began to set in. Joseph was a simple man, but he was being placed in the forefront of a very complex situation. He still didn't know what the future held, but one thing he did know. He was strong in every sense of the word, and he would have to get stronger. He would forge ahead no matter what. No fear, he said, repeating his school motto. He would just have to trust God and himself. The Messiah, he whispered as a wide grin came to his face. Mary came promptly at 8:30 to see the kids off to school. The smile on Joseph's face seemed permanent. He just kept grinning. Very uncharacteristic, Mary thought. What does he know? Mary, I need to talk over some business with you. Just a few details we need to iron out. Can you meet me for lunch at the Shekel? All right. What time? I'm off from 12 to 1. See you then. As he left, he looked Mary in the eye. Gabe called last night. He winked at her and he ran down the path to work. He was whistling the tune he had sung in church 2 days before. Praise the Lord, he never changes. As he walked, actually skipped down the path, Mary stared at him. In addition to the smile and whistle, she noticed that Joseph's right hand was bandaged. Strange, very strange, she thought.